Hey guys, welcome back. This is video number 2 in a 4-part series for Memorial Weekend, and this is going to be our red, white, and blue cross. We're going to use some items from Hobby Lobby and Dollar Tree. I am going to use this Waverly chalk paint in white to cover up the cross so that it doesn't look so dark behind our mesh. I like to put my paint in these little souffle cups and then open the paint over a trash can, because I don't use it very fast, so my edges always get really crusty, and you just got to make sure that doesn't get in the paint you're going to use. So I turn it over and paint the back side first, and I really should have spray painted this, but I didn't want to put my shoes on and it was dark outside. But it ended up being a much bigger pain to do it this way, so I recommend you spray paint it and then it's just done. Don't worry, I don't make you sit through all the coats of chalk paint and Mod Podge I put on it. We're going to use this open weave mesh that's red and white. It comes from Hobby Lobby and it's pretty new, so you should be able to find it. It's a 10-inch wide mesh, and then with this open weave, I try to just cut it as close to 10 inches as I can in length, cutting in between the red, like I said, just kind of splitting the difference and cutting the white. And that really does help with the fraying, because this poly burlap does tend to fray. But because there's so much of an edge on the white, it does help reduce the fraying. Now I'll cut several of these, and then I try to determine which kind of petal I want to use. In the past crosses, I've always used where I fold it to the inside and then, well, it's going to be easier if I just show you. So here are the two options. And you know, I always like to use these little rainbow looms for rubber bands just to hold it in place. But one option is to fold the two corners in and then gather it, and then just flip it up like that, and then put one of those little rubber bands on it. And I think these petals have names. I don't know what they are. Like I said, I am very new on the poly burlap, and I haven't really even made a flower yet, but I want to. While yet another coat of paint dries on the cross, I just go ahead and grab another cross and try to decide if I want to use that where I flip the two sections, or if I use just the petal that is kind of fat. Again, I wish I knew their names. Next time I'll do some research and have a better idea of what they are. I think they're called Dean Michaels, but I don't know for sure. But I end up liking that one a lot better, and you saw it with the thumbnail that that's the one I used. So here's the coat of Mod Podge, and really dabbing on some Mod Podge did make the paint stick a lot better, so that's a good tip. So just keep that in mind. Put a little Mod Podge, and then your paint won't scrape off every time you try to put more paint on it, because that's what kept happening. So this is the petal I ended up doing, where you just fold it in half. And I'm going to do a few of these, and so if you know what you're doing, you can fast forward, but I really want to show you. Flip it over a couple of inches, and then aim it up, like the edge of it, and then gather in, and then flip it over a couple inches and aim it up again. That gives you that curve on the sides so that it does the correct bubble effect. So we'll do it here again. And I tell you, using these little rubber bands just to hold those in place instead of having to use the pipe cleaner, or not pipe, well, you could use a pipe cleaner or a zip tie and attach it directly to the wreath frame. I really like just making up a bunch of petals using that rubber band and then attaching them with a zip tie. So fold it over a couple inches, aim it up, gather it together, fold it a couple of inches, aim it up, and then gather the rest of the way. And you can see again, it aims that curvature in the right direction. And in my last video, I asked if you guys wanted me to ramble or to tell a dad joke or to play music. Overwhelmingly, people said no music. We did get a dad joke option. I didn't find one yet. I'll maybe do that on tomorrow's video. But yeah, so definitely we won't play music, and I will just talk. And usually I don't like to chitty chat that much. I just like to give the instructions. So it won't be like tons of rambling. But here I just put a zip tie on, and then put the petal in there, right at the edge, right as it starts to curve down. Clip it off. And I'll show you just 3 of these, and then we'll zoom through the rest. If it's your first time watching one of my videos, the channel is about 3.5 months old now, and so I am still in the learning process, and I only have so much experience in editing. So the editor that I use, I can only zoom it by 2 times. So I can't make myself work really, really fast while this goes on. But I do like to try to at least show so people who are working along get a good idea. But I wish I could zoom through it a little faster. And I do like to show you guys my thought process. So here an option was these roses with those little white flowers. I really, really, really wanted some blue ribbon with white stars, but I didn't have any. And I kind of like the flowers on these crosses too, though, so I do like the way it ended up. These are Hobby Lobby flowers. I put a paper towel behind there in case my hot glue drips, but for the most part, I'm using a wire, and I just come up from underneath because it's easier to twist that wire on the front side where I can see that the flower doesn't move around. And then I use hot glue to get the ones in the middle. And I was thinking, I don't always like using hot glue because if it gets hot during the summer, because I live in Texas, if it gets hot and they fall off, that would be bad. So I decided to get some E6000. I just put a little dab of that in the middle and then use it in conjunction with the hot glue. The E6000 will give it more of a secure hold long term. Then with these little white flowers, I just put a little bit. I turned my glue gun off so that it's not really, really hot glue, so it's not going to melt those little stems. But then I put it on the flower itself and a little bit on the stem, and then just find it, random places to put it into those little flowers. That way it's like the field is like the dark blue, and then the white is like the stars. And I'm so sorry. I keep seeing it and forget to mention, I kept painting that cross so much, I just got tired of washing my hands. I am the messiest painter ever, so it's something that I don't even think about, but then when I'm watching back doing the voiceover, I'm like, oh my goodness. It's a little distracting, and I'm sorry if it's distracting for you. As I sit here doing the voiceover, I still have all that paint on my hands. But yeah, this, like I said, put a little bit on the petal itself, and then up the stem. And I want to mention that this whole weekend we are doing 25% off at DIYDion.com. I've got mesh up there, and it's 25% off your total purchase. And again, that's DIYDion.com, and get yourself some mesh. We are pretty much at the end here, so happy Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully you have some plans to have some fun and truly remember those who make this country great. And thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.